Welcome to our September board meeting. Thank you all for coming. I call this meeting of the Bastrop Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Will you please stand and join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Please remain standing for a minute. I want to ask Trustee Munchnick to lead us in our opening prayer.
Please bow your heads. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Lord, thank you for the refreshing rain. We ask that you please give us a lot more, but safely. And we want to thank you for all the great opportunities that you have given us here at Bastrop ISD. We ask that you please give us wisdom here tonight to guide us through the decisions we need to make and grant us safety on our way home. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. We'll kick this off, and I'll ask Sierra Green to come forward, please. A little bit about Sierra. Sierra is a senior at Genesis High School. She'll speak tonight on the character trait honesty. Sierra enjoys her personal fitness class at ACE, enjoys writing poems, and reading in her spare time. Sierra's mom is Miss Tiffany Green. If you're here, would you please stand? Thank you for being here. Okay, Sierra.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sierra Green. I attend Genesis High School. I'm here today to tell what honesty means to me. Honesty, according to the Webster Dictionary, is sticking to the facts. Personally, I sometimes feel like lying, but it eats me up on the inside, so I tell the truth. That way I won't get in that much trouble with my teachers or my mother. Like when I decided to go to the mall and I told my mom I was going to the library, the lie was eating me up on the inside. So I came out with the truth. She laughed and said, I could tell you were lying. Thanks for telling the truth, and gave me a hug. It felt really, really good to come out with the truth. Telling the truth is sometimes hard to do, but I have chosen to follow the path of honesty. It makes me feel good and free. Like Z. Ziegler said, honesty and integrity are absolutely important for success in life. I'm kind of nervous, so I got mixed up.
Doing great. You're doing fantastic.
In all areas of life. The really good news is that anybody can develop both honesty and integrity. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. Thank you, Sierra. I want to let our superintendent introduce his student advisory council at this time.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Each month we have students from our two student advisory councils, both at Cedar Creek High School and Bastrop High School. Actually, having Sierra as our speaker tonight reminds me that we're going to increase our student advisory council over at Bastrop High School because of the proximity to the Genesis High School and Circa High Schools, and we're going to have two students from each of those programs, Genesis High School and Circa, at our Bastrop High School student advisory councils. Tonight with us, and again, as we did a couple of times prior, both before our summer break, if you will, we did some special filming, and you'll see maybe some filming going on with Renee tonight, because we have a presentation we're doing at the joint convention of the TASA, Texas Association of School Administrators, and TASB, Texas Association of School Boards, and we're doing that October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and the 4 students that are here tonight that I'm going to introduce, and 8 other students are going to be joining 3 board members and myself in doing a presentation to a a large number of school board members and administrators from the state of Texas. In fact, there's thousands of school board members and administrators that attend that convention. So tonight with us from Cedar Creek High School, we have a senior, Star Martinez. Star. We have another senior from Cedar Creek High School, Luis De Nova. We have a junior from Bastrop High School, Celeste Navarez. And a junior from Bastrop High School, Jake Keinerth. It's a real joy, as I've said so many times, to meet with these students on a monthly basis. In fact, we're going to have our first meeting of the school year with our 2 advisory councils next Wednesday and Thursday, and I'm really looking forward to it. And actually, just to remind our principals, if any of them are in attendance, but to tell other people that I've talked about student advisory council so much for the last 6 years I've been here, in the last 18 years or so that I've been doing it, and I've suggested to our principals that they might want to try it. And I think a lot of times maybe they think that's just for secondary schools or whatnot, but I've challenged each one of our principals at all of our campuses this year to have a student advisory council. And I know they're looking forward to meeting that challenge and starting those councils. And they're going to be invited to those first 2 meetings next week to watch how we kick that off for the school year. So we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll move to our section, it's called Open Forum. And our first speaker tonight is going to be Dr. Vera Preston Yeager.
Thank you. It's nice to see you in the new year. I'm looking forward to hearing about all of the different things that the students are doing. I'm mainly just know that you all are teaching to all of the different learning styles, and that's always a challenge to do that. And I know that everyone will be successful. If there's any way I can help, I've taught a lot of different learning styles over the years, and I miss it, but I know you all are doing a good job, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Miss Rebecca Bennett.
Good evening. I'm here on behalf of the Bastrop Federation of Teachers, and I'd like to urge you to pass the policy tonight creating a sick leave bank for employees. This idea began when several employees contacted me asking about something like this. They have friends and former colleagues in other districts that have sick leave banks, and they wondered why we did not offer that benefit. I brought it to the Teacher Organizations Committee and we discussed it. We even conducted a survey across the district to get employee input, and we found that overwhelmingly people were in favor of some kind of benefit where employees could donate days to other employees who were out of sick leave and needed it. Getting sick or taking care of a sick family member should not lead to bankruptcy and or financial distress. Trying to get well or trying to care for a sick loved one is a burden enough. And when people run out of leave, as happens occasionally in catastrophic situations, they are docked for any additional days that they miss, and this can create a financial hardship for the entire family. Employees shouldn't have to choose between caring for their family and paying the rent. So I hope you will seriously consider this policy change, and I urge you to pass it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rebecca.
Now we'll move on to our public hearing. Ms. Sandra Callahan.
Good evening.
Yikes. Oh, I should leave that alone. Okay. So we're here to conduct the public hearing for the 2015-16 tax rate for the year. Goodness, hold on. Okay.
I've got another one, you wanna try it?
Or I could just advance it, I guess, like that, or somebody give something good. Great. Our truth and taxation information for this year. Just to compare, our last year tax rate for 14-15 was $1.44, $1.04 for M&O, and 40 cents for debt service. Our rollback rate for 15-16 is 1.456. Our effective rate is $1.43, and our proposed tax rate for 15-16 is also $1.44, so that's good news. To continue with the M&O tax rate of $1.04 and the debt service rate of 40 cents. I always like to show our principal taxpayers. One slide that for some reason when I got it onto the presentation didn't make it, but I typically show you, and you saw it during our budget process, but just our value growth over the years. We do have a $3.1 billion worth of tax value in the district, but about a 7% tax increase for this year as far as values. I always like to show our top 10 taxpayers for the district when we do our public hearing, and just to show you that 18% of our entire tax roll is made up of our top 10 taxpayers. That's very important to note because they do make up a large portion of our revenue that we get for our budget. Just to show you our tax rate history, of course, we've been at $1.44 for last year and this year, and again, as you can see, we reduce it every year we have the chance. Our M&O tax rate, of course, has stayed level since tax reduction happened back in 2006-07 and then further in 2007-08. Our debt service tax rate for 15-16 proposed again is 40 cents, and we reduced that 2 years ago and are glad to be able to continue that for this year. Just a summary that, of course, the debt service tax rate is what we pay our bonds with, and just to show you a little comparison, and when you look at that 14-15 years, the reason those numbers are so large is because we had a bond refunding. We're about to have another bond rate refunding, as will be on the agenda tonight, but just to show a comparison. So in 14-15, we had that bond refunding. We did make an early payment on one of our bonds, so we actually used $420,000 in fund balance for 14-15, but that prepayment will be taken off of our 15-16 bond payments. So as you can see, for 15-16, at this point, we'll have a $1.4 million excess. Again, when we talk about our bond refunding opportunity later, we will buy some or pay some bonds off early, so that will basically be used. And of course, with conservative estimates, hopefully we'll not use any fund balance for next year and have a balanced debt service budget. This just shows the various taxes on our home values. What I did put in the presentation is, while our tax rate is staying the same, there is the proposed $25,000, the additional $10,000 for the homestead exemption that'll be on the ballot in November. So I did kind of want to show how that'll affect taxpayers at different values for their homes. So really, overall, for a Bastrop ISD person, $144 is less what you'll see in your tax bill if that proposition passes or that amendment passes in November. I wouldn't think that it wouldn't, because it's an extra $10,000 exemption for all taxpayers, so I would assume that would. So while we keep our tax rate the same, taxpayers could see a reduction in their taxes. Then just to summarize again, our tax rate that we'll be proposing and asking the board to adopt tonight is $1.44. And I'll be glad to answer any questions from the public or the board.
There's no questions for Sandra, and this is a public hearing, so anybody from the public can ask questions at this time, but if there's none, or none from the board, we need to entertain a motion to adopt the rate.
So move.
Moved and seconded to adopt the 2015-2016 tax rate at 1.441. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on to the superintendent's report and board discussion.
I believe we are going to start off with Janie, with, I think Panay is going to do that for us. Panay, you? Yeah, that was information only. So, you're up.
Like a student, I'm a little nervous, so. Okay, so. All right, so good evening, board members, Mr. Murray. Tonight I want to present the target improvement plan for our improvement required campuses. Okay, which one of these standards is working? I have options. There we go. Okay, so the first campus we're going to talk about is Cedar Creek Elementary. Target number 1, our L students, that's our English language learner students. We're going to work on increasing the STAR performance in reading and in writing by 20%. Target number 2 for Cedar Creek Elementary, we're going to work on some instructional leadership, STAR scores, all subjects. We want to move from 58% to 70% next spring. Target number 3, our writing scores for all students. We want to move that to 66% for the students reaching the state standard. Then we have the targeted improvement plan for Red Rock Elementary. So in 2016, we want all students to perform at 70% in reading. 2016, we would like all of our students to perform at 60% in writing, as well as looking at specific populations to meet and exceed performance goals. English language learners at 55%, Hispanic students at 60%, and the economically disadvantaged at 60% as well. So pathways to this improvement. So as a requirement, when you're an improvement required campus, you are expected to hire a professional service provider. You also have to assign a district coordinator for school improvement. That group of people is going to work on examining the existing campus structures. They are going to work on setting goals. They are working on improving their leadership so that it's positively impacting the student progress. One of the pieces that we are going to utilize is our lead forward support. Next week, we are taking 3rd and 4th grade teachers to a conference, and we're going to unpack the hot spots of our math teaks. Additionally, we are going to have teachers guided by that campus administration. They're going to look at past district state testing data. They will monitor the progress and set goals for those students. They will utilize student data folders as well as monitor the student progress. We're going to have intervention periods provided during the school day for the students to provide interventions that'll be differentiated as well as enrichment for those students. We presented in August when we had our teachers come back for in-service. There was an instructional model training for all staff that week. It included thinking maps, sheltered instruction. We're also looking at targeting PD for STAR tested areas for all grades. Additionally, we have employed literacy, math, and bilingual specialists to work with these campuses. So they're targeting specific students and their needs. Campus administration will set the clear expectations for the differentiation, intervention, and enrichment. They're going to monitor all of these programs by walkthroughs with their coaching and supporting their teachers for student performance. Any questions about the programs?
Yes, the DCSI reports to who on the campus? They report to the principal, they report to you?
They work with the campus principal. It's like a team, and they report to Janie Pollard.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you for your time.
Sure.
So, looking at the IR and what we're doing to improve the campuses, do y'all have any ideas that would help us improve and reach students that we're seeking to reach to help bring our scores up?
This is Cedar Creek and Red Rock Elementary, so it's the elementary level.
These are based on the state test. Y'all, obviously coming up in the grade levels, y'all took text tests, and now it's STAR. So based on not meeting the mark on some of those subgroups and some of those tests, those two campuses are required improvement in schools. So I think that's the question. You know, what suggestion would you have as you've gone through school and taken those tests and whatnot?
How can we help those? How can we help the campus?
Is it already on? Okay. I think what y'all are doing is really well already. Like the idea of thinking maps, because kids need to sort their ideas out. And I also think, I don't know if y'all are already doing this or not, I'm not really aware, but maybe peer tutoring, well, not tutoring, but like just extra tutoring for kids. Because I know when I was little, I needed extra help with a lot of stuff. So I think that would just help.
I think, like Celeste said, the intervention period that you guys are implementing, if you could like increase that time even, because for the kids that are struggling with it, the in-class help that they're already getting isn't enough, and it's not really helping them. So that specialized, more one-on-one approach can definitely be really, really substantial, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what they both just said. I personally went to Red Rock as well. I was always a pretty good student, but like my little brother's in Red Rock right now, and I see that they have like a lot of support, but I think it would help if they had more like one-on-one time, and you know, especially with like reading, because a lot of kids are having a lot of struggle in reading right now. So
maybe we make smaller classes so kids can have more approach with their teacher, more time to spend with them, and not be all huddled up in a big group.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Very good points.
Could I ask another question? So this is all as a result of the state testing that you still do. So do you have any thoughts that you want to share on any of those, the STAR testing or the end of course exams that you take? And your
We don't
feelings
take them
about
as
it?
seniors.
You don't take them as seniors?
You have taken them.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
you didn't hear about that?
Yeah, we didn't tell you about that.
Oh, well,
They're gonna, that's later in the meeting, they're gonna tell you about it. No, I'm teasing.
I've always found them easy. I never had trouble with any STAR or text test, so I'm not too sure.
You felt very well prepared and, okay, thank you.
I think they definitely test the knowledge and stuff that the students have within that subject, because I'm like pretty good, like I have some strong subjects and I can like easily pass those, and then I have some subjects that I like struggle with, and you can like, it shows on the test. So I think they're definitely doing like their job and showing where the kids are.
Very
you know,
interesting.
It definitely serves a purpose, and like obviously if you don't test in schools to determine where kids are progressively like in their education, then there's not a whole lot of point in you being at a school. So a lot of classes, they do prepare you for the STARS, and that's like in my experience being in like pre-AP and AP classes. But I know a couple of my friends who are in regular classes, they don't ever seem to be like reviewing that material beforehand. They continue on with their like provided lesson plan almost. And so like more coverage on that and a couple of like the more like the regular classes where they might need more help would probably be a good thing. So that's my statement.
Thank you, Jake.
I think when it comes to STAR tests, you can't really prepare a kid for that. You just have to build their basic skills, because when it comes to math and stuff, or just reading in general, you're not going to know what they're going to test over. Yes, there's TEKS, but when it comes to the actual questions, you can't prepare a kid about exactly what you're going to see. So you just have to make sure that their reading skills and their comprehension is all very well already sorted out or just developed, because you can't really, you don't know what to expect when it comes to STAR or, yeah, tests.
So I guess my question is, are you talking about teaching them how to take a test as opposed to?
No, I'm saying building their basic skills. I'm saying the opposite of that. I'm saying that you should teach a kid how to read instead of how to analyze something for the test. Because I feel like what we're doing in classrooms right now is teaching people how to test, not how to read or how to write a paper. Because it's, when it comes to STAR tests, y'all know that you only can write on one paper. When it comes to college and stuff, you don't have one paper. They want it to be long. They want it 1,000 words. But when you're taught to only write a certain amount of words per I guess, essay, thank you, it's hard to take that into college and in the future. I mean, it's just not realistic. They're testing, it's standardized testing. I mean, you know, I guess. Okay. That was a lot.
Yeah, I appreciate that. 'cause
That was really fast. And
that was my question, you know, was, you know, are we teaching how to take a test? Are we teaching the actual knowledge you need to be able to analyze and to, you know, use the knowledge that you have as opposed to the formula for being successful on a test?
Yeah. Are you asking me or just telling you?
No, I was trying to clarify.
Okay,
my
thank
question
you.
too. If anybody else has
Sorry,
any input
I was
on that.
confused.
No, you did exactly what, you told me exactly what I wanted
Thank
to hear.
you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem.
Hey, Jake, I want to take this opportunity to ask a fun but serious question. You got a great set of parents, and I've known them for a long time. And it seems like every year I call one or both about serving up here on this school board. What are your thoughts about that in the future?
My dad could definitely use something to do. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to the idea. It would give me another venue to complain about things. I'm pro Arthur Kynorth and Sally Kynorth for school board. That's my official stance on that.
Off the campaign, I think.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Art, Sally, I couldn't pass that up. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, guys. Good questions and good responses. We'll move on to our consent agenda. If no board member wants to pull anything off the consent agenda, I will entertain a motion to approve 4A through E.
So moved.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda, item 4A through E. Is there any discussion?
I just want to reference, since it was brought up in public forum, that the policy that was referenced by Ms. Bennett is in consent agenda.
I think it's in.
You are approving the sick leave bank by approving the consent agenda.
Fantastic.
And Mr. Edwards, is that policy consistent with other districts or it's all, okay?
Great. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Can I ask just a real quick question?
Sure.
I thought we had something like that in place, or maybe it was one individual last year or the year before, and they were able to share those sick days. Did that ever, I thought it happened, but maybe it was on an individual basis instead of opening it up to everyone?
No, last time that we had leave bank was after the fires.
Oh,
We
that's right.
created a pool so that we could help the families that had lost, or,
Okay.
you know, employees.
That makes
So
sense.
with working with the teacher organizations and administration working together, we came up with an extended catastrophic leave bank.
Gotcha. Okay,
We're all in
thank you.
favor of it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Now, action item 5, consider approval of the district improvement plan. We got a presentation on that, Ms. Pollard?
Very brief.
Okay.
Thought maybe I'd go over all 60-some pages, take care of your needs, but what can I say?
67, I believe, was the number.
I don't know, there's 60-something. Board of Trustees and Mr. Murray, it's a pleasure to bring to you tonight the district improvement plan for you to consider for approval. Included in the plan are all of the action items that were extended from the 14-15 plan, as well as year 5 of the BISD strategic plan. We also have items that were added from the District Education Improvement Committee on August the 26th. New items are highlighted in yellow, and items that we are going to remove that we have accomplished or reconsidered are in blue. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them at this time.
I don't know if I have any questions. No, the district improvement plan, will it be put on the website?
It will,
Okay, so if anybody wants to go and go through that and see that, they can catch that on our website.
after approval, it will be put on the website. Yes,
Okay.
sir. It will be linked to the curriculum page.
Okay?
And
we are-
Janie, you bring campus plans after the approval of this plan, then we'll bring campus plans next month.
Yes, sir, we will. We want to always do the district plan and provide it to principals because the district goals need to be brought down into the campus goals. And so you start with the district and then you bring it down, and we will do that in the month of October. If there aren't any questions, I recommend that the board approve the 2015-16 district improvement plan as presented.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the district improvement plan as presented. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We will move on to action item B.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Janie.
Tonight, we're bringing a bond refunding opportunity, talked a little bit about it in the tax rate hearing. This is our portion of our 2005A and 2006 bonds that are available for refunding. This is similar to what we do every year, a bond parameters order that gives the superintendent the authority, once the interest rates are good, to be able to do the refunding. This is $23 million in bonds we're going to refund, and we'll have a potential savings of $4.9 million in interest, which is great. We'll also, during that bond refunding, incorporate that prepayment of the 2006 bonds that are callable at that time. As we talked about, that's just like paying your, they like to say paying your house off early, paying a little portion of it off early. So that's always a good financial decision to do that. And so that will also be a part of the refunding. So we're asking you to approve that parameters order. And it looks like when it all will be finished, may not be until March, but the pricing will probably happen. It can't happen until after October, I believe, just for legal purposes and the tax code. But it should come up soon, and we're excited about that savings added on to the rest of our savings we've had over the last few bond refundings.
Sandra, what just briefly, what do you think that total is? I mean, y'all been doing this, what, 3 or 4 years now?
$20 million in savings so far, and that's since 2011. I think since Mr. Murray's been here, we've had a number of them. So, yeah, over 20 million, not including this one. So,
Well, congratulations,
Great
and
news,
thank
yeah.
you for what y'all do.
yeah, it's good.
Being very
Excuse me, just a second. Is this some of these bonds are the cab bonds? Is that correct?
Yes, a portion of the 2006 bond was cabs, and we've talked about those a lot in the past, and those are sold a lot of times when you're having large growth, but sometimes your tax values aren't keeping up with it. We don't have a lot of those, but anytime we can redeem those, it's better. It's a combination of cabs and current interest investment bonds. So, but yes, we will be refunding some of those, so that's great news to get those off the books. Yeah, it's good information, good news always for this. So you'll be somebody, the board president and secretary, I think, signs all those papers. That's what I was going to say. So after the meeting, don't leave, because that's where you got to sign all those forms. So we recommend you approve the bond order.
Thank you. So I'll entertain a motion. Save some more money.
I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider all matters incident related to the issuance of the sale of Bastrop Independent School District and unlimited tax refunding bonds, including the adoption of an order authorizing the issuance of such bonds, establishing parameters for the sale and issuance of bonds, and delegating certain matters to an authorized official of the district. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Now, our third action item, we're going to consider the revisions to the BISD Board of Trustees operating procedures. We met in August for our team building, and the changes are redlined in your books. There's very few changes, but we do change those from time to time, and that requires a board vote. So at this time, we'll entertain a motion to approve those changes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the revisions of the BISD Board of Trustees team operating procedures. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Before you adjourn, I just wanted to ask the students a couple things.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, this is a pretty short board meeting, but you got a sense about some of the governance that I've talked about, you know, for the last few years that I've been with y'all. Do you see where, you know, do you see the similarities in what we talk about and how certain things can get done and maybe not get done in a certain time frame and that type of thing, as you get a chance to see it unfold here at a board meeting? Y'all get a sense for that? What started you have?
Yeah, I was just remembering because I used to be in the principal's advisory as well, and like we would tell her something and she'd be like, okay, well, I'll see what I can do about it. And then like the next month we'll be like, so what did you find out? And she'll be like, okay, sometimes like things take time. And we're just like, oh, when is it gonna happen? But I mean, now that, you know, we're here and we see like the process of how everything works, you know, it makes a greater understanding of how things work.
You know, I've also made the analogy, Star, and the rest of y'all, and you've heard me say it, that y'all, even though you're not necessarily elected in the same manner, you're just like the board members here because you're representing the entire student body. Just like these 7 people are representing the entire school district, the parents, the taxpayers, the voters. And so in a sense, y'all are doing the same thing at your 2 high schools. You know, we've talked about that a lot. And I will say this about our students, they've done a great job. They've come each meeting and they talk about the fact that they've heard this from a friend, or they're listening to their friends or fellow students in school, and they're concerned about the following, and they bring it up. And that's one of the kind of the unwritten rules in Student Advisory Council, that we just don't bring our own issues. We bring issues that are pertinent to everybody. And they've done a really good job of doing that. So I just hope you see the similarities, some of the similarities, you know. Any comments about sitting in the board meeting tonight, or coming up this year on the Student Advisory Council with our juniors and seniors that I have here tonight?
Well, I'm excited, honestly. I was, you know, I had an opportunity to come over the summer and I had missed it. So Mr. Murray was like, oh, well, how would you like to come Tuesday? And I was like, woohoo. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this year and the superintendent committee as well, so.
Somebody excited to come to a board meeting, y'all. Great.
I didn't really know what to expect when I came to the board meeting tonight, but you guys are a lot more agreeable than I thought. There hasn't been a single nay yet, and I assumed it was going to be some sort of lively debate. I was kind of looking forward to it a little bit, but it's nice to know things are moving along. That's good to see.
Jake, I can explain that a couple of different ways. A few years ago, there was a lot more fireworks going on, but this is a very supportive and cohesive group of people. But I will say this, and Mr. Allen says this a lot. He didn't say it tonight, but he usually does. We have a meeting every Thursday prior called the Agenda Review Meeting, and we are able to talk about a lot of these things ahead of time. But that same mindset you have, Jake, a lot of people come in, and that's why Mr. Allen usually explains it. A lot of people think it's like a rubber stamp. Everything's 7-0, 6-0, whatever, and it's because we've done that discussion ahead of time the week prior, you know. But, I mean, we can argue real quick if you want us to. If it'll make you feel better.
I was going to ask that question. Do you all ever get together amongst yourselves prior to your meetings with Mr. Murray, as far as advisory, to discuss issues that you'd like to address in those meetings?
Not as a cohesive unit, I don't think. Whenever I've personally had an issue, and I've been in an organization that's being affected with a couple other members of the group, we might get together a little bit before time to say, hey, let's talk about this to Mr. Murray and talk about what we're going to say. But, I mean, other than that, we just sort of go in and we can air our grievances, and it's been pretty effective. I mean, we're shooting a pretty high success rate. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to that, a lot of the stuff we talk about actually gets fixed. So that's nice.
Let's start with Celeste. Celeste, what do you want to do? I know it's a year early. Let's start with you. We'll go down the line. What do you want to do when you graduate?
I want to go to either Texas A&M, Gig'em, or Baylor, and I want to study pre-med and eventually go to med school and become a pediatrician when I get older. So I'm really excited. It's a long time, but it's going to be worth it in the end. I think helping those kids. So.
I would like to go to the University of Texas in Austin, preferably, and pursue a liberal arts degree, which will not be very useful to me. most optimized plan would be I would love to pursue stand-up comedy because I like to make jokes. It's sort of my one marketable skill. So that's the plan.
Fantastic.
I would like to attend UTSA and go to their pre-dental program because I heard it's one of like the best ones in the country actually. So I would like to go there and then go to dental school and become like a dentist, like the really high ones, you know, that like tell everybody what to do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those. Yeah, and like
You know, you don't have to be a
lessons.
dentist to do that.
Well, true, but they make a lot of money, so. Yeah.
I haven't decided which college yet, but I'm hoping to major in architecture, minor in business, and be a general contractor, and follow up my dad's company, expand it, make it bigger, and hopefully just make him proud.
That's great.
Great.
They make me proud every month, so I really enjoy having them here tonight.
Yeah, we appreciate your comments, and like Steve says, this board meets more than once a month. We meet for team building. The agenda review actually lasted longer than this meeting did. So the agenda review is very few people, but we always encourage more attendance at the agenda review, but anyway.
And I think it's nice to know, we get a week before the agenda review, or several days, we get the board book sent to us to look over all these campus improvement plans in 60, 70, 80, 140 pages. But a lot of great things. And just before this meeting, I think we're going through a communications audit, and they're getting input. And I don't know, Mr. Murray, is any input given from the student advisory on the?
I think many of y'all we all asked to be a part of the communications audit. I know some of the student advisors.
Right. So
yeah, many of our students are involved in the communications audit.
So it was exciting how to definitely, help take this district forward in regards to communications and stuff like that, so.
The other thing to think about, you think about disagreements and those kinds of things amongst board members, but if the district, if we challenge Mr. Murray and his team to do their research, and they bring us things that they do their research on. So for a lot of times for us to give them a thumbs down on something they've done a lot of research on, we better have done our research, because they're the educators. So I'll make that point, that we do challenge them. This is a board book. This is I think a board book is that we get once a month to go through.
That's a small one.
That they put together. So they do their homework, and we challenge them to do that. So that actually makes for less things for us to challenge them on. But for you guys, we'll keep them on their toes.
Just like with board meetings and the board, who makes our student advisory council go? Miss Nancy, right?
Yes.
It's a good meeting, though. We appreciate y'all's attendance and appreciate you guys coming. If that's it, we will. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time.